What's going on, boys? It's your boy First-in-Law with another Madden video. Now in today's video, it's going to be a little different because we're talking about something unique here. We're actually going to be talking about mental toughness. Now the reason I want to talk about this, and the reason I'm doing this at all, is because I want to start a series where I take new Madden players and I level them up to be really good at the game and to have fun at it, enjoy the game, and to win consistently when they get on. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to continue to grow the game. I want to continue to grow the community, to grow the esport, and that way hopefully I have a job in the future. That's the purpose I'm doing this. So I want you guys to be rewarded for watching this channel, and the way I want that to happen is by making you guys better players, so you have more fun and you just have a good time playing Madden. I'll start off by saying I'm by no means a pro player or anything like that, but I definitely play the game a lot and I'm good at the game. Currently in ranked, my record's 210 and 31. I consistently make the top 100, and I don't have like these crazy records with over 100 losses like some of the players do. So I win most of the time when I play. I'm also surrounded by the comp scene right now. I just got introduced into my own little comp crew. I know players in the comp scene. I know players like Dubby, Skimbo, K-Mac, Henry, John Beast. You know, I know all the pros. I follow them. I watch them all on Twitch. I just want to be the person, or kind of the liaison between those types of players and the more beginner players in Madden. So I want to be your liaison to kind of let you guys know what's going on in the pro scene, why are these pros so good, and what you can do to copy what they're doing and add it to your game to make yourself a better Madden player. And I think starting off on this topic is going to be crucial to the whole series, and I think it's super important. Because without mental toughness, you can be the best Madden player in the world, but if you don't have mental toughness, you can lose to players that are much lower in skill level to you in the game. And that's why this topic's so important. So let's go ahead and get into it, boys. In the background, I just have gameplay of me playing, just random gameplay of playing the event right now. But I want to get into the definition of mental toughness. According to Google, mental toughness is the ability to persevere through challenges, stress, and pressure by staying resilient, confident, and in control. So that's Google's definition, but the way I think about it in Madden is, how do you react when things don't go your way? So it's easy to have fun and stay positive when you're just stomping on somebody in Madden who's not that good, but how do you react when things don't go your way? How do you react when you make a mistake, throw an interception, fumble, when the game cheats you? That is what we're going to talk about today. So let's get into it, man. So the first topic I want to talk about in mental toughness is actually about the game cheating you. Yes, the game is going to cheat you, and you should go into every game knowing that could happen. Now, obviously, we don't want that to happen, and there are things we can do to try to avoid that, but you just have to know that the game is going to cheat you, and it's also going to cheat your opponent. The way you react to that, though, is going to determine how you play the game. So if you go in with a positive mindset, knowing, okay, it's Madden, it's sports, at the end of the day, it's not super consistent, and at the end of the day, I know I'm going to get cheated, and that's okay. Sometimes you just have to live with it. I know it's crazy because most Madden players can't mentally force themselves to think that way. When these players get cheated, it enrages them to another level, and it just completely takes over their mental for the rest of the game. Think about what happens when you do that. When you let one play determine how you play for the rest of the game, that's called having a bad mental, and you are mentally weak. You have to go into these games knowing getting cheated is a possibility here, and honestly, it's probably going to happen. So what are you going to do when it does happen? There are certain ways you can deal with it. I have my certain ways. Honestly, I like to let it out very quickly and then move on to the next play. So if I get cheated, sometimes I'll just cuss. Sometimes I'll just be like, wow. Sometimes I just want to get it out of my system, get it out of my body. But then in my mind, I immediately snap into, okay, it literally doesn't matter now. It's in the past. There's nothing we can do about it. I have to move on to the next play. I see players and I watch a lot of streamers who say, wow, if I didn't get agged in the first quarter, none of this would have happened. It's already the fourth quarter and they're still talking about something that happened in the first quarter. Now, obviously these things happen and it sucks, but you can't let that take over your mental, and you can't let that take over the rest of the game. You have to find a way, however you have to do it, find a way to sweep it under the rug, to put it in the back of your mind and forget about it, because you got to continue to play the game after even getting cheated. It's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do is control how you react. If you decide to get mad and you just want to say the game sucks and you don't know why you play this, then that's on you. What I'm going to do is just laugh. I'm going to move on to the next play, completely mentally reset, and be stronger after that. If you can do that, if you can do that one skill alone, you're going to beat a lot of players who are mentally weak. And I'll be honest with you boys, most players are mentally weak. When someone else gets cheated, they can't stand it. They can't comprehend. They completely implode and they just can't play the game after getting cheated just one time. But if you go into the game just understanding it's a possibility, it could happen. And at the end of the day, it's sports. Sports, I mean, sometimes crazy things happen. It's just how it goes. Some things are just out of your control, but what you can control is how you react to it. So just know the game is going to cheat you. It doesn't matter. How are you going to react and how are you going to move on to the next play? The next thing I want to talk about is dealing with mistakes. The type of mistakes that I make, and I still catch myself doing this, is just throwing a bad read, throwing an interception, and just playing bad in certain situations. I really beat myself up over that, and I'm trying to work on this myself because I know when I'm playing like high level comp Madden, the first player to make a mistake typically loses the game. And knowing that when you make an unforced error is what I call them, meaning you weren't really under pressure. You weren't really having to throw a bad read. You just threw the ball to the other team and they caught it and you threw an interception or something like that. Those are the type of mistakes that I have a hard time personally dealing with. But again, it goes back to mental toughness. How do you react to a mistake? How do you react going forward? Do you let it dwell and sit in your mind the whole game? Do you let it take over your mental and your confidence? Sometimes I do. Boys, I promise you, I am not immune to any of this. I just want to talk about it to make sure it's all on the table so we could all deal with this together. After I throw an interception, I literally tell myself I'm the worst player of all time. Why am I playing this game? I absolutely suck. I tell myself that on stream all the time, and it's actually bad. And even though I'm mostly joking and kidding and just trying to put on a bit of a show for the stream, even just saying stuff like that out loud is honestly not really good for your mental, and it's not good for your head, right? Even though I'm joking, my mind still might end up believing it in the future, and that's why it's kind of bad to be joking like that, in my opinion. I'm just telling myself, wow, I'm the worst player of all time. Why am I playing this game? I actually suck. If I lose to this dude, I'm actually the worst. It just goes down and down and down. And again, like I said, I am playing it up for stream, but at the same time, I have to work on that after making mistakes. And all of this stuff, boys, is easier said than done. I know that when you're in the heat of the moment, when you're playing for rank or when you're playing gauntlet, or sometimes even if you're playing a money game, if you're doing that, mental toughness is so hard, but it has to be talked about and it has to be something we focus on. Just know that when you make a mistake, your opponent can still also make a mistake too in the game. But if you continue to dwell on that mistake and you just play bad after that, you're allowing that mistake to multiply and then turn into a bad game when it's just one bad play. So don't let that happen. Figure out mental ways to deal with it. What I like to do is just laugh at myself, make a little joke, and then move on. And I literally tell myself, it doesn't matter. Next play, let's still go and win this game. And that's the next thing I want to talk about or key in on, is just letting it out and moving on. Now, I don't want you guys to be like monks and after you make a mistake, just no reaction at all and just internalize it and not let it out. That's not what I'm saying here. If anything, I'd prefer you guys just to let it out quickly, but then move on very quickly. In sports, they have this thing where you have to have short-term memory loss, especially in basketball, because basketball is so high-paced, meaning when you make a mistake, you have to have short-term memory, get it out of your head, because the next play is literally going to happen right after your mistake, and there's nothing you can do about it except continue to play the game. After I make a mistake, I like to let it out. Sometimes I'll curse. Sometimes I'll just say a little joke. Sometimes I'll laugh. Sometimes I'll just do a one thing, but then I do a good job. Personally, I think I do a decent job of just letting it out and then thinking to myself, okay, doesn't matter, next play. So again, I don't want you guys to be like monks. I don't want you to internalize it and not let any of your frustrations out. That's not what I'm saying. You could definitely let it out, but just understand that you have to move on, and you have to move on to the next play and play the rest of the game. Another mental thing I want to talk about in this game is thinking you're better than your opponent. Now, all of the stuff I talk about is stuff that I've done, which has led me to lose big games in Madden, and I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that I do or I did. Thinking you're better than your opponent is actually a huge mistake in Madden. Henry had this really good quote he talked about after one of his games. He plays the game all day, every day, right? And he treats every game the same. game. He treats every game like they're really good at the game no matter what.
I mean, I look at every opponent the same, man, whether it's John Beast, whether it's the Buster down the street, you know.
Hi, I'm the Buster down the street. Good to see you.
You know, if they make it here, you got to respect them.
And if you go into these Madden games, especially ranked or gauntlet, treating every opponent with respect and saying, I'm just going to assume they're good at the game, even if they are or not, it doesn't matter. Just assume your opponent's good, and that way you play up to your level and you don't play down to their level. So if you know your opponent's not that good at the game, what happens a lot of the time is you start to meme, you start to troll, you throw things you normally wouldn't, and then you can make mistakes like that, and then you really beat yourself up saying, wow, I'm actually losing to an idiot or a freaking loser, all this stuff, right? Let's just avoid all of that. Let's just assume our opponents are good, even if they're not, and just make it in your mind and say, I don't care what my opponent is, if he's good or bad, I'm just going to play up to my level and not down to their standard. So this is a super important part of the mental game in Madden, is not assuming your opponent's bad. And even if they are, don't let that dictate the way you play. You have to play your game, play your way, and play consistently to your abilities. Next thing I want to talk about is when your opponent makes bad plays. Now, again, I've been victim to this. I've done this. When you're actually playing against a Stevie Wonder who throws the ball directly to your defenders, and then your defenders just don't catch it, right? I mean, we've all been through that. It's happened to literally everybody. So what? Right? You have to move on. This mental toughness episode, or whatever we're calling it, is honestly really focused about moving on to the next play. Sometimes you're just going to play dudes who get super lucky at the game, and you have to accept that. Sometimes they're going to throw it right at your DB, and he's just simply not going to catch it. So what? You have to move on. You have to move on to the next play. And you have to have this in your mind before every game and during the game. It literally doesn't matter what just happened. Move on to the next play. Continue to play defense, because guess what? If they continue to throw at your defenders, chances are you're going to catch one of them anyway in the future, and then you're going to get the interception or turnover you need and win the game. But if you let it dwell on you saying, oh, this dude's an idiot, he sucks, and then you make a mistake, and then you let that snowball into more mistakes and more mental just fatigue and fog and chaos, that's when things can get bad. If you know that, okay, he threw it right at my guy, I didn't catch it, that's fine, because guess what? I bet he's going to throw it at my guy again, and then we'll catch it the next time. So have that already ready to go in your mind, and be ready just to say, you know what, it's all right, I'll catch the next one, and then we'll move on. We also need to understand some things about our opponents, and that is that kids nowadays genuinely have zero mental toughness. When they make one mistake or one super bad error, I see a lot of players just instantly crumble, quit, start rage blitzing, and just start playing terrible after one mistake. We can't do that, but we have to understand that most other players are going to do that. So this is why if you can force your opponent into one mistake, just one big mistake a game, you're going to win 99% of your games. Because most players and most people just in general in life, not even in Madden, just have no mental toughness nowadays. When something goes bad and something doesn't go their way, they absolutely crumble. They start blaming the game. They start blaming EA. They start blaming Madden. They say this game sucks, and they don't take any accountability for their own mistakes in the way they play. We have to know that, because we're going to be mentally tough now. After we watch this video, we're going to go in every game saying, I know that most players are mentally weak, and I know that if I could force this dude into one mistake, I can win this game. So go into games knowing that and use it to your advantage. Because if you're mentally stronger than somebody, chances are you're going to win that game 99% of the time. Even if you're the one that makes a mistake, if you can bounce back faster than somebody, and when they make a mistake, they just let it dwell and snowball, you're just going to play so much better. So this is why this is so important, boys. And then I have written down here on my little notepad, if you're more mentally stable than your opponent, you give yourself such a better chance. Literally, if you're just more mentally cool and you're just calm, cool, collected, whatever happens, happens, and you're just having fun playing the game, your chances of winning just go up just by doing that. Just by being mentally more solid than your opponent. So mental toughness is just so important, boys. And you can't dwell on mistakes in games. Everything I have listed on this is something I've done or still do, and something I'm working on. So just know that this is pretty much like a self-talk and a self-help video for myself, if you will. You can't beat yourself up over the same mistake or a mistake you made early on in the game. If you threw a Stevie, if you threw a terrible pass, if you made a terrible read, or you just did something that you normally wouldn't do, you can't just beat yourself up for it for the rest of the game. Oh, if I didn't just throw that read, I played really bad there. Why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. And meanwhile, it's already the third quarter and there's already a bunch of other plays that have happened, and you're not paying attention because you're still dwelling on the mistake you made in the first quarter. So this is all about just moving on in the game and understanding that things happen. How you react to it is the most important thing, and you just have to keep moving on and keep playing. I want to end this video by giving my most important advice for mental toughness, and that is to have fun. Madden is supposed to be fun. Yes, I know we all want to be the best. I know we all want to be the Henrys and the John Beasts of the world and win thousands of dollars. But at the end of the day, it's a video game and it's supposed to be fun. Even if you're losing or even if you're not doing that good, you should constantly try to find ways to have fun in the game, to laugh, to enjoy it, and to understand that at the end of the day, it's just a video game. The main purpose of it is to have fun, to enjoy it, to be in the community, and to have a good time. I appreciate you guys checking this out, man. This is going to be the first episode of many. I really wanted to start off with this topic though, because I think it's so important. And I think without this topic and without mental toughness, whatever we talk about on the channel doesn't matter. Because if you can't grasp this and you can't get control of your mental, it doesn't matter how good you are at the game. You're just simply not going to be as good as you could be. Go into these next few games after watching this video. Go in with mental notes saying, even if I get cheated, I'm just going to move on. Even if I make a mistake, I'm just going to laugh and move on. I'm just going to keep moving forward and have fun playing Madden. I appreciate you guys checking this out, man. Peace.